So the issue of Self-Wound is that they have all those nice engines and they're all getting locked and you can only feed so many pellets into your deck before it becomes detrimental to your deck building.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a tough matchup for Holder because from both what you just said and of course also that the solutions that Joe has are exactly the thing that are the biggest problem for Holder.
Okay, so quite slow start here. Squirrel coming is not really that influential. Of course, you can get the coup squirreled, but honestly, that's probably a bit too late into the round to consider keeping it.
Agreed. It's probably way too slow from blue here, but we do see the marjoram get discarded, so Holder at least presents with the option maybe to there is maybe a line that you accept losing on even. Either you try and play your 3 cards maybe and get out, or you, if you're Holder, you play all the way down even if it means losing on or even if it means going down a card to win instead of losing on even, and you just then have to push because I mean there are just so many engines and so much control coming from Joe's side of the board. It's gonna be a tough uphill climb for Holder.
Yeah, this is also an interesting addition to the deck, Cantarella, because you don't have to play Joachim over and over again. You can just take something, and if there is something in the deck from the graveyard to take, Self-Wound provides you with so many options. Like, you can steal the Draco Turtle, you can steal the Swoleblood himself, denying Sid Griffa's right value, which is quite big quite often.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially in round 3, to be able to, or if you're bleeding in round 2, to be able to deny the opponent access to the engine while putting it on your side of the board, and like you said, bricking the Sigriffa's right is a really nice touch.
Yeah, so...
But if you're playing Caretrolled in round 1, it looks like Holder's gonna take the line of wanting to go in here and say, look, if I lose round control here, then I'm gonna lose the game. So it's time. I need to set up so that I push.
Mm-hmm. His hand, though, yeah, has Swoleblood, has Draco Turtle, Totem, all the cards you'd want for round 2 and 3. Probably not really helpful slamming all of those in round 1, but you do what you gotta do. Once again, this is a match where Kite Troll there, Dwimbiandra, and Heatwave would have been a problem, but yeah, Masquerade Ball being a devotion list. At least they don't have that tool. Only from Cantarelli and Gortud Gwent, and this is a potential to break your Dwimbiandras, so Holder needs to be yeah, mindful of that and probably not just throw Heatwave early on. Although that's a nice answer to this Thirsty Dame that is growing. So if you ever need to put a stop to Joe's domination in the round. Okay, so we were talking about the squirrel potentially getting somewhere later in the round. Instead, she's just jumping out here.
Yeah, which makes sense if you're willing to spend the Caretrolled order click this round, then the squirrel there made sense because you can follow it up with the Bearification if you need to, if Joe had kept pressing, but Joe opts instead to either defend the bleed or to take the long round depending on what Holder draws and hence wants to do. Makes a ton of sense because being able to be reflexive if you're Joe gives you a lot of strength here. Joe also had an interesting hand where, of course, you don't want to pull out you don't want to play a gold and you don't want to play a gold aristocrat from hand and pull out the Ardfane location. So it round 1 can be a little bit tricky with this list. But you mentioned it a minute ago. I'm interested about the Gorthric Evade Cantarella interaction and to see how that ends up getting Joe value. Because there's a lot of ways that plays for a lot of points, and also interrupts what Holder's trying to do.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think Holder is crazy enough to take this aristocrat deck into a long round. You will be sitting with your board full of engines, all of them locked, and your opponent just keeps slamming them. Instead, we do see a card roll the reset here, and Joe is not really trying to save anything. Goes for Masquerade Ball here. Also, I hope you are happy to see the Terror Crew Plunderer. I remember
I am the greatest card in Gwent.
Yeah, I remember you getting excited every time seeing this and playing it on your streams as well. So, ma'am, you missed it.
I am in fact a child, and I do get overly excited by simple things. And the Terror Crew Plunderer, as the best card and second best premium card in Gwent, is one of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, Joe decided that Masquerade Ball, being a 14p card, is nice and all to sacrifice, even if your opponent had a pass on 7. Like, he's happy seeing that, if offer is accepted by Holder, but Holder is, aware of the situation.
Yep. Holder knows better. And very smart from Holder to essentially play low to the ground and hold the heat wave. A lesser player would have maybe snap heat waved if the plan was to bleed this round, but Holder plays low to the ground, doesn't give up a lot of value, says that things like the additional 4-point bodies for the Fangs of the Empire, the 4 points of removal from a poison, not as impactful as being able to heat wave something like a Rosa and Edna, something like another Thirsty Dame. So very, very good play from Holder to set himself up for success here.
He's also playing Gut and Slash, card just played for like 20 points at 4 provisions. Finding that first Thirsty Dame, or second Thirsty Dame, there is already 2 of them. So nice addition, not the card you really can set up properly in the self-wound, but at the same time, well, it's 4 provisions, so it's basically free to put into your deck, and if it finds value 1 in 3, 4 games, you are happy.
Well, I'm a simple man, so I'm happy no matter what happens, but the Terror Crew Plunderer here gets played, which now has made my heart full, and no matter what happens with the rest of today's Gwent, I will be a happy panda.
That's nice.
I know you're beaming with joy for me.
Yeah. It's the same like casting Maddox games with Lemon. He's also getting... But yeah, you're probably getting the short end of the stick, because Maddox was happening before the nerfs quite often. The Terror Crew Plunderer, unless it's created from somewhere, is rarely featured in the decks. So you should start campaigning more and more for making it even more insane number-wise in the balance councils.
You know, it's funny you say that. It never dawned on me that I should do that. Really, not even that I should do that. Anyway, I will bookmark the Terror Crew Plunderer for right now, even though I don't want to at all. And we'll jump back into, we continue to see Holder here pushing. This is a Rosa and Edna spawn from Joe. Nothing really on the board that's of any value yet for the Rosa. It could end up being played on something like a Roderick, depending on... Like, I don't think that's particularly what Joe wants to do. It's to just kind of like pre-fall a gold twice. And especially because then it starts to really thin out your deck in terms of what do you have left for round 3. But Holder, I think, playing this bleed really, really well.
Yeah, so from the Roderick pools, Cantarella you'd want to play after the Gortwood Gwent setup. Joachim is fine. The Emir lacks a target, right? This is the agent and the humans in hand, so...
We do see the pass here from Holder, and then the Gorther Gavade, just to get the, I think, to get the location of the order click on the ground. You could have gotten out with a Fangs or a Van Morleham Servant, but instead take the Gorther Gavade for a Viper Witcher to go ahead and maybe deck clog Holder just a little bit. And also now the Gorther Gavade order is live on board, so you can same turn click it in round 3. So both players, I think, did what they wanted to do here.
Yeah. So Dwimviandra, of course, is not really useful after the verification happened. So that seems to be like one mulligan target at the moment. Yeah, looking at the graveyard, nothing is really all that helpful.
Great. Yeah, nothing that great yet. 2 good mulligans there, though, from Joe. Mulliganed 2 low provision bronzes that he maybe did or didn't want in exchange for finding 2 golds to include a mirror, which is really great for the thinning the threat value. And finds the Joachim on the pull as well. So yeah, very, very nice a couple of draws here for Joe to lead out round 3.
Okay, so anything missed? There is a tutor available for Holder, so Knut will be most likely featured, even if for one turn the lock situation is kinda but you have Imposter, you have Servant, so some things might be locked, and this is a 7-card round now.
And presumably we see the Draco Turtle first because it then allows for the Canute value, because if you're Holder, you have to expect that the Canute is going to get controlled in some way. Ironically, we know that Joe doesn't actually have an immediate answer in hand for the control, except for playing a status. It would have to be a Roderick into a Philippe, put a status on the Canute, and then lock it is the only way I think that it gets controlled in the current board state.
Out of the way, rabble!
Okay, so
but instead we see the Philippe now early, which now means that the Canute could kill the Philippe as well. But this is probably fine if you're Joe, because if there's now 3 engines on the board, really two engines you're concerned about if you're Holder, and now the problem is that yes, the Canute can kill one of those engines, but now the Van Morleham Servant can move the lock onto the Canute, and we know that there isn't a access to then the Peller. You can't, because since both the Peller and the Canute are in deck, you're only going to get one or the other if you're Holder.
Yeah. Wait, Knut is dealing 4 damage at the moment, right? So...
Say again?
Knut is only doing 4 damage at the moment, right?
Yeah, now that the Draco Turtle's been locked,
so
and you didn't get a chance to small blood click it.
Philippe is fine, maybe spending a leader charge would have been nice there.
A nice ring.
We also see their Holder opts to use the Small Blood Totem to self-kill the Roderick, just in case there was a gold missed in hand for Joe. That's a smart play, but of course we know that all golds are in hand for Holder, or for Joe rather. So
yeah. So what's the Cantarella line here? The Heatwave is available if necessary, and well, you can go for that. You can also go for Joachim's. You have what, 4 units legitimate for Joachim. Just go tall, but that plays into Spores, and Is it really good? You have things like Fangs of the Empire that connects with the poison if necessary, but yeah, we'll see what Holder does here.
And you had actually mentioned this before about the leader, because now, for example, if you use the imposter leader on the Sigvald, it's another card that is not a Sigdrifa's right target. So right now there really isn't a good Sigdrifa's right target at all in the graveyard for Holder, and that's exactly how Joe wants it. So just as I say that, Sigvald gets killed and becomes a good Sigdrifa's right target. I thought he was just going to leave the lock on the board.
I guess with Peller being somewhere there, considered that, but opted for killing it instead. It's not like... well... I guess you can steal that, but is it really good? Don't think so. And yeah, lock into another lock, into a 20-point gap with things unclicked.
Yeah, this was always, we had said this from the beginning, and I think this is obvious to chat and to anyone who's played this kind of matchup. This status ball deck is really hard to play against when the objective of your deck is to put engines on the board.
So sure, this Joachim is playing into sports, but what does it matter?
No, it doesn't. You do if you're Holder. This is probably the point of maximum value for the Svalblood, given how few units are on your side of the board. So yeah, we do see that happen now, and we should see the leader a lot of... Oh, okay. I thought we were going to see leader clicks here to continue getting Svalblood value, but
I think it's
Holder is a little bit too far.
Like, you can convert those onto Draco Turtle. Draco Turtle is in graveyard now, right? Yeah. But there are only 4 units for you to damage as well. And you're also damaging this, like, into the sports value denied a little bit. So, decided not to. And Cantarella.
And this is also nice for Joe because, as you were just pointing out, you're putting more units on Holder's side of the board, making this Svalblood worse.
And now Svalbard is locked, and then you have justification for stealing the spice, and yeah, Holder finally had enough.
Holder says this game is stupid and everything is rigged.
Yeah, not really good time for self-wound into the Masquerade Ball, so nice read on players who brought Masquerade Ball expecting self-wound.
On blue coin. There can be, depending on the matchups, really great value in catching the opponent flat-footed by playing a deck from a coin that they didn't expect, or playing a deck in a position where you didn't expect it because, you know, of course everyone is trying to line up where does the opponent not have answers for me, where do I have answers for the opponent. And that's one of my favorite things, is seeing what the players come up with to think through and solution that strategy.
Open, of course, we'll have that on May 18th, so next Saturday. Nice, and Lemon will be joining for the cast. We'll have the bracket as well, so Mayamon versus Renova and Nick versus Lerio. Hoping for some extra spice in the deck building department.
So we do, speaking of which, we do see here Joe opts to take, so not the spiciest decisions when it comes to the matchups, fairly straightforward. Joe opts to take Northern Realms, Royal Inspiration Knights on blue coin, and Holder takes what is generally more of a red coin deck in Henry. So we are going to get to see Henry, which is really great, and we'll get to see that matchup here now.
Yeah, there are some nice Henry pools in Northern Realms. Some pretty questionable, like Military and stuff that doesn't help you. So we'll see how it goes. You can also use Henry in 2 different ways. You can just play him early and then cultivate your deck, sorted by provisions, but more often than not we see players hold Henry till the end and then provide your opponent with a poisoned pill of like a Fan into the hand or something that doesn't really synergize with the deck in any way. So let's see how it goes. Slow start with the bronzes here. From Holder, doesn't have to commit to anything yet.
Army's a waste of time for
That's an engine. No meaningful way to answer it outside of yeah, tutoring a lock.
another replaces him.
Well, we do see Joe open with the combo as expected. This will obviously be not something that Holder really can or maybe even is interested in dealing with as much as playing your cards, staying in the round just long enough to be competitive, and then eventually play the Calvite. I am curious if the Henry gets okay. So the Calvite comes out first, which means not trying to play the Henry to shuffle Holder's deck top to bottom, which makes sense when you don't have any of your top gold cards in hand. It's different if you maybe had Terra Nova, Torres, Stefan, some of that, but you don't have any of that, and you certainly want to make sure to get that. And like you said, you don't want to pull like a Melitele into your deck and then shuffle it to the top.
Yeah, that's like a mulligan, and then the issue is you're not finding your cards, and things like Mage Torturer even, that is a 5p card, would be kind of welcomed because of the assimilate value it provides with Stefan's Skeden, and also it has utility with Arthur Terra Nova, of course. So yeah, I think that's the playstyle Holder is usually using. Here we also see that you can do something with the Damsork Immortals combo. You can start yoinking the shield yourself, but for now goes for the shielded squire instead.
Yeah, and that's like you're saying, that's more points denial than anything else. But the lead continuing to get further and further away for Joe, and of course growing the Erendite. So at some point, Holder, it's a tension that you always have with Knights when you're on red coin, is you want to stay in the round long enough to be competitive, but you also don't want to, like, at some point you either have to accept growing the Erendite on behalf of the opponent, or you give up early and then the opponent gets a long round with a ton of value. So we'll see how much more Holder wants to shorten the upcoming rounds by continuing to play in here. The hand got better with the Torres now, for sure, off of the Magni Division draw after setting it up with the Calvite. So it does give Holder reach, which is nice if you're Holder.
Yeah, that's not infinite reach, but quite good considering the 4p cards in the deck in abundance, or at least, yeah, 3 of them. So that's...
Yeah, with no Vilgefortz in hand, not that you want to use Vilgefortz in round 1 when it's your only true tall punish, but yeah, Holder staying just close enough here, I think, to make it so that the Torres play could be a thing. But we are now down to 4 cards. We are getting into the part of the round 1 where both players need to decide what they're willing to commit. Holder here, I don't even think could do it in 2 without leader, looking at the hand. So an interesting decision point for Holder.
Henry's how many points? 6, 6, 6, 21, right? You have an engine. Yeah. Is this the pass? Like you cannot bluff, but you can choose to lose 1 extra card down, and we do see. Well, at the moment, yeah, I was counting if he can get ahead, but of course with Torres he can easily catch up in 2.
Just a peek. That is all I need.
The other nice thing here, though, for Holder continuing to play in, is that the Vandergrift, if the Vandergrift is, if a Holder plays one more card, then the Vandergrift goes to 12, triggers the Grace now, which denies it denies another Vandergrift if Joe pushes in round 2, but more importantly, it denies that Grace ability off of the scenario getting an extra 4 points. So we do see Joe pass here. Both players getting 2 points a turn passively on board. It's 22 points here is a bit of an ask from or 20 points in one card, but yeah,
the Taurus is 21. He has 3 targets for each.
That's if you play all the 4 provisions. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good math.
In that regard, he's not blocked.
You get high-end math on this stream when you've got Rabbit here, not with me, but with Rabbit chat. I hope that you're all grateful for the ability for other countries to teach math.
I just learned from Lemon. Okay, so he didn't take.
Opts to take the draw? Just opts to go down the card. Okay, I was like, so math? Speaking of math.
He took the lock. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the 4, like you'd said, I thought it was going to be all 4s, but took 2 4s and the margarita, at 6 provisions was 1 point shy of being able to get out here.
Considering the thinking process here, different cards highlighted, I don't think that was the plan. But...
Yeah, that felt like maybe bad math, because if you're going to do that, then if you knew that you're going to play another card, then why not take something that'll get you more value? Like you could have taken, you could have taken Windhelm. The difference between Windhelm and a 4P is 3 points, so you had enough bandwidth to take Windhelm, maybe a Knight Errant.
Yeah. So players are occasionally missing the infusions while counting points, might have been, but at the same time, like, Vandergrift was growing, so it's not like it was hidden Sangreal style infusion, which doesn't do anything, just stays, and then you're like, oh, where are my points? Wait a second, I had more. I promise I had more.
Anyone who's played enough Gwent anyone who's played enough Gwent on ladder has in fact forgotten about Sangreal on board. But we do see Holder opting to push here.
Yeah, because Vandergrift was on the board. Are you happy enough to pass?
Yeah.
Two down and your opponent passing in the turn? I guess not. But yeah, I'm not sure how much. Okay. So if knights play without scenario, it's always bad for knights if they are forced to like cough up the points in the end still, because you lost so much in the process. Of course, Holder has all the golds. Okay, there was a freeze and I thought maybe Gwent decided to crash, would have been fun with a delayed stream, but seems to be okay.
Yeah, mine is flowing okay as well, so I think we're good.
Yeah, it's returned. All is fine, but always, especially streaming on delay, like, okay, live event, hit the button and go again, but with the delay there is like a problem of discarding the delay as well if you go live immediately, but we are fine. Okay, so yeah, the Holder is not stopping here. His golds are good, but at the same time, do they provide enough buffer for like 2-card disadvantage? Probably not, but at least scenario is getting out. And Joe is even happy to play another card, I suppose. forcing the pass.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was also surprised that Holder didn't go leader before the Terra Nova, because there was the possibility of spiking the, or at least, I mean, I guess it's a low percentage to spike the scenario, and then you'd need to, because you can't play the Rune Mage first, because you'd need the Rune Mage to resolve. You need to roll a knight off of the Rune Mage NR Runestone to resolve scenario. Either way, we see Holder essentially trading Terra Nova here for the scenario, which, like you said, Joe is probably happy to do.
So Vandergrift, sadly for Joe, is not traveling into the next round. No scenario, but still has Maiden's Shield.
And an Erendite at 11, which will go to at least 13 or 14 before it gets played.
You have Curse Knight versus False City, and yeah, there is no way
No boo hurt in the graveyard though for the False City. It will be interesting though, because of course the Erendite, if the lowest card on Joe's side of the board was the False City, then it would proc. But without a boo hurt in the graveyard, Holder opts to mulligan the False City anyway.
Yeah, you just cannot risk it against the Curse Knight anyway. Like you get the tactic payoff, but we do see Joe keeping it. Although, yeah, the Echo cards, the Lady of the Lake.
Here? What then?
Kinda not the perfect draws. So
yeah, like you said, you don't get the Lady of the Lake, so you don't get the extra 3 points there. Also, you'd like to not have to use the AA. In a perfect world, you don't use the AA on the Maiden Shield because you want to trigger something else's grace, but now you have to.
How do you shoot with this thing?
We would imagine that this immediately gets probably Vilgefortzed.
yeah, unless you click leader
Unless you
and
let it
heat
grow.
wave. Might have been consideration. Also, Peller is a much better pool than Knight Errant.
Yeah, that's a nice pull off of the Vilgefortz for Holder to, like you said, not see an engine.
And not insane leader value here for Holder, but you can always combine it with Henry, which is another point of why Double Cross is the leader choice here. You could have played Imposter and whatnot, but you can just wait till the end and hope. But you need to find the card that fits your board situation and not your opponent.
So Joe has 24 points left total.
So, yeah, speaking of it, Leo Bonart is coming. You can give your opponent Leo Bonart. There is no
That's
target.
a great pull.
And you can lead Leo Bonart.
You give the opponent a 3-point card.
13 years now.
Yeah, that's real nice.
Now you just need to find a card that doesn't give Leo Bonart instant value in a turn.
Smart. Takes the Bloody Baron, which will play for at least 6. At least 8 with the if you play it on the damn Sorceress. So still 15. So now a 3-point card a 6 and a 3-point card in hand with a 3-point leader, and yes, this Erendite is gonna get to 17 probably, but it's gonna be much closer than I expected, if I'm honest.
Yeah. So what are we putting Lydia on? Like 10?
No bronze specials in the graveyard, so the Lydia will go back row.
Okay, no boiling oil,
great.
smoke them out.
Smoke them out is probably the motive because it keeps you low to the ground, right?
Yeah, also
you don't want, knowing
6
that
points.
Knowing that there's a Leo in hand, you don't want to. Otherwise, you might take the boost on the Redanian Knight for the extra 2 points on the Grace trigger, but of course you don't want to do that here. So 6th, so 22 points left for Joe. The Baron plays for 9. So 39, 18. Oh, oh boy, this is gonna be so close.
Yeah, +1 from Redanian Knight, 37, and
2
the leader
points.
is enough.
It's so close. So Holder with the mismath in round 1 didn't even get to play the margarita in the end, and still managed to keep it within a 2-point game. Good job from Joe there to navigate getting out, but wow, that was much closer than I thought it was going to be in the end.
Now, I mentioned Holder always gives Henry extra shot if there is a possibility, which I'm thankful for, because yeah, this makes every game a little bit special with the rolls. Self-wound from Joe, what we were talking about. I think Chinese players opted to play only one Dwim Viandra in the deck, so yeah.
I think that's correct.
If that becomes relevant, which is probably not really. What else is
also
there?
interesting? Holder opted to mulligan the Vilgeforts, and I think the logic there is to make the round 1 hand as playable as possible, knowing that you'll get it back with the Calvite. But still, I was interested to see that mulligan.
Yeah, sometimes he is your get out of round or get round 1 win card. If your opponent senses that there is no toll punish, they might play it, play into it, and then Vilgefortz might shine. But at the same time, yeah, they kinda expect Vilgefortz to be there, and then he's kinda unplayable in round 1, so probably. I know that you know that I have this card and you play around this card and I'll mulligan it so that you play it, but I don't have this weight of Vilgefortz in my hand at the moment. And in round 3 it should find value because of Draco Turtle and Sigvald and just how they work.
Agreed. And we see both players doing the deck setup from round 1. Holder here now can play a Magni Division and know to get Torres on top, which, as we saw in the last matchup, can definitely provide the ability to get out of jail. If you need that big top end tempo from Torres, but we know that Joe has a Spores in hand, and that Spores really would love to, like I was saying, that Spores would love to keep round 1 competitive instead of playing on the Torres.
Yeah. The players, are you in the channel with players? As soon as you mention the card, they go, oh, I have to play this one. I have to play this one.
Yeah, I have to mess with the caster. The caster said this. It's time to go. I love it.
Yeah.
We do see the Obsidian Mirror there just played as a flat 6, which is good. A lot of times it doesn't get nearly even that much value, except in very niche situations. So Holder's probably happy to play a 6 for 4 into this board state, and now we see a Diplo that at most will play for 6.
Should be Reacher even without the Adrenaline. Yeah, no synergies with the Alchemy cards, not really.
Okay, so Joe gets to play the Maxi for carryover. Doesn't have to commit anything other than a couple of 4 provisions to get out of the round. Conversely, Holder is also happy to not get pushed, not get excessively pushed here, and we'll see if Holder even opts to take a mulligan here.
Yeah, and looks like if they were selling this at discount in the supermarket, I think it will sell out like in seconds. Like, look at this. Would you look at it? Okay, you are missing Vilgefortz, sure, but at the same time, just look at the quality.
And if you're Holder, you probably can't afford to mulligan. I mean, you certainly can't afford to mulligan the Mage Torture because you didn't play round 1 Torres, so you need that in order to help activate your Terra Nova. Because otherwise, right now, Terra Nova doesn't have any targets, right? So we see the Rune Mage, I think, played here just to generate the No, I was wrong. We see Torres come down. I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
I was sure that was going to be a rune mage and then out, but I was mistaken.
Not the worst card to have if you are seeing Swollblood played into the round. I guess there's not much random damage going on with the Berserker out. Okay, so Holder is jamming here.
We also see that the Vigo opted to play for a Duchess Informant and not for a Mage Torturer. So that's interesting then, that this Mage Torturer then has to be held back and can't get assimilate value, and hence needs to be held back to be able to activate the Terra Nova. And also the Lydia should get some decent value here with things like a Spores in the graveyard for either Spores in the graveyard or for trying to roll damage for Holder. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch as well.
Yeah. You're not forced now, but if you are just generating points, even Markdome is kinda not bad.
Yep.
From Lydia, since you got the ship already.
Oh, are we gonna see a random Kingslayer? Are we gonna see a YOLO on the Kingslayer? It's not the right choice, but are we gonna see it anyway?
Like, the Purify should be better, and Purify is being taken, okay. Yeah. Okay. Responsible gaming.
Responsible gaming.
Getting another Assimilate with Stefan Skellen on plate, with Lydia, Artorch, all those things, like having extra engine while you're pushing. Yes, please. Random Kingslayer, deleting, I don't know, Epidemic from your opponent's deck. Please no.
It's not, to your point, it wouldn't have been the right choice, but it could have been a funny choice.
Yeah.
A decision point now here for Holder. Opts to leader. Was thinking about it, but instead decides to take the back row Lydia.
So Mardrome is there. There is nothing in the graveyard to bring out.
I'm sorry, the front row Lydia, apologies.
Okay,
Denies some of the Svalblood value.
I'm in no mood for jests.
Okay, so thinning out your opponent's assimilate engines is what Joe is doing here. Joe should be happy not playing against Masquerade Ball, status Nilfgaard, but it's still a Nilfgaard, so...
Yeah, it still wants to mess with your deck.
Yeah, but at least there are not annoying amounts of locks. So you should know there is like a Wilgefortz, and maybe something will be created from Henry, but other than that, it's a safer world.
Again, another decision point here for Holder is how much more do I push? Joe's pretty happy here, I think, with the ability to play obviously anything from a Nero. The Bearification is live. So now, yeah, we just see the Bearification, which is good. Joe could have played the Aneromancy here for something that was less points, but then of course it clogs a draw, and there are still 3 cards that you absolutely want to play in Joe's deck.
Yeah, those
Joe,
cards
however,
being
draws none of them.
Peller, Armored Drakkar, and Epidemic. Were those 3 cards that he wanted to play? Probably not.
Oh boy. Joe still doesn't find... Okay, Joe finds at least a Draco Turtle, but doesn't find any of the other gold, so it's either going to be Canute or Heatwave for Joe off that Aneromancy. Is not going to get both.
Starting with the ship. Ship is probably a quite good Duchess's Informant target.
Yeah. You'll get the value back on the Duchess Informant body when the Svalblood comes down. The Armored Drakkar is a great like you're suggesting, a great way to say no to Svalbard. But Joe also knows that there isn't a Terra Nova. Terra Nova's not active yet. So we'll see how that plays as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much wiggle room he has with that, yeah, you need Draco Turtle down, etc, etc. His Sigrifa's right is also kinda eh. At the moment, of course, it might... something might be sent to the graveyard still.
Curious if is it another Duchess? Yeah, another Duchess Informant off of the Experimental Remedy. So more boats, denying more of the Svalbard value.
At least they are playing for 4 points on deploy, so it's not that great. It doesn't generate extra value, but yeah, if Svalbard strikes twice, an extra point for ya. And if somehow the Bloodthirst is getting triggered, it's more. Okay, so we see the standard Henry providing everyone with some fun healer grant experience. Nothing you can do with that as far as send it to hand. Other options, yeah. More points. It's bad against pincer maneuver.
Yeah, not great options here for Holder.
Yeah, so Artis is kinda eh.
Yeah, none
I
of
guess
this is...
Kraken does sound okay, goes for Crowmother. He has last say, so he doesn't have to play Crowmother into the Swole Blood.
Right. Interesting there. I thought he might take the Hewlin because there's 4 more humans in hand. But also, Holder didn't get to do what he did last game, which is what you had called out, put a good card in your opponent's hand and then leader it. Instead opted to put a bad card in hand and just say, it's better for me not to give you value, because a lot of those other cards play for value on the other side as well. Like, you certainly can't give the opponent, you know, Turney Shalmar.
Yeah. Okay, I mentioned the Kraken, but yeah, in this board state, Kraken doesn't do anything but provide Joe with points. So yeah, that wasn't great. And Birna Bran with Gold Hand is also not something you play.
Yeah, I mean, the Henry did trade up between the value of the Crow Mother at 8 and the value of the Afon at 3, but not a joy in the end. So we'll see here. Also, it's like now there's a tension of you want to Mage Torture so that you can get the Terra Nova online, but also at this point, like, do you Stefan? There's this, you know that the Sigdrifa's right is there, so between like Stefan and Vilgefortz, you assumedly you want to Vilgefortz first so that the Terra Nova and the Mage Torture are down, so you maximize the assimilate value on the Stefan. Like, it's... yeah. So we see here the Stefan goes first.
Yeah, not a single assimilate was triggered. That's a painful experience. What's up with the leader? Sigrifa's right for a 9 power Bear Reacher.
Yeah, that's what it looks. That's what it would have looked like.
Cursed are the meek, we say.
Of course, you can always purify Sigvald.
I think the Purify Sigvald is a good line if you also Vilgefortz the Canute, maybe. I mean, but you're still, there's still 5 Ursine Ritual Leader charges, which could go into either the Canute and then kill the Duchess Informant, could all go into the Draco Turtle. I mean, this is just the problem here for Holder is you just don't have enough control.
Yeah, this Terra Nova. What were the options before this? I guess the Uncrate Warrior is not really the spiciest pick from when Artorius was played and Mage Torture was there. So Joyce was doing decent job of
Yeah.
messing a little bit. Okay, we
An
do see
interesting choice.
is it Svalbard? Yeah. But I'm not sure how much of a positive value it is when you are popping your opponent Drakars, Draka Turtles, and also damaging your own units.
As you
But-
continue to make the Drakar better for the Canute, yeah, that's not great. Yeah, and Holder says that's saw the hand and knows kind of where it's at, and Holder taps there. So Joe
Okay.
again kind of navigating this really well.
And navigating to a 3-0 then. Putting the teams on equal footing and
Equal footing.
requiring the decider between Sanvanter. So Metal needs, so teammates need to wake up Sanvanter, I guess. Team China also needs to find Catburger.